What's going on, everybody? My name is Mike Toledo. Thank you very much for joining me. I have a very exciting podcast or video cast now that you want to call it. If you are listening on iTunes, make sure you hit that play button. The video should pop up. If it for somehow doesn't, you can go to Podbean. And if that doesn't work, which I'm sure it will, you can go to denttimepdr.com. You can watch this video as we're talking. Now, I do encourage you to watch it because this is going to be very visual. I'm going to try to make it as visual and descriptive as much as possible. So if you are on YouTube, you're wondering what this podcast or video cast is about, it's about paintless dent repair, anything and everything about paintless dent repair, from PDR training, PDR tools, the PDR life, and interviews with other techs who help you understand what's going on in the PDR world, understand if training is for you, all of that good stuff. So if this interests you, hit that like button, subscribe, both to iTunes, wherever you want to listen to and wherever you want to watch. But I do encourage you to please do so. It helps support the channel and helps encourage me to keep making podcasts like this for you. So what is this podcast about, or video cast, whatever we want to say? It is going to be about a little bit of tool reports, all right, and an interview with Jeff Beach Cities. I have a co-host that helped me out on this one, Joe Garcia. Some of you are very familiar with him, and we interviewed Jeff from Beach Cities PDR, who brings a very interesting take on how he gets customers to come into his shop for under $100. That's all I'm going to say. It's very interesting. I like the thinking on the outside. I think a lot of you guys are going to think it's very interesting as well. I need to know your thoughts too as well, because he says a lot of cool different things. He's actually a gentleman that's been on overhauling, does a tremendous amount of work, knows Chip Foose. So Jeff from Beach Cities is our special guest on this podcast. But meanwhile, let's get cracking into that. And then we'll be talk about tools, some of the latest tools I've been using around the shop. And it's going to be an interesting podcast. So let's get going. All right. So now that we are kind of getting the ball rolling on this podcast, video cast. I guess I just don't PDR. Let's call it PDR video cast. We'll just do that. I'm going to stick with that. PDR video cast. Well, I'm going to talk about a little bit the importance of tapping down first. Okay. So I'm going to give you some insight here. So I'm going to try to be as descriptive as I can, because I know some of my listeners won't be able to watch this. They will later, but I encourage you to watch it. I'd like to show you this clip right here. Now, this clip is one of the older clip here, and what we have is two high spots here, and I'm going to be very, very visual. I'm using a line board. One is more sharper than the other. If you notice on the right, it's going to give you way more detail. It almost looks like owl's eyes on the right. Okay, two dots, two little dotted eyes, and a sharp point in the middle. On the left, it's not as sharp. It almost looks like an hourglass there. So that means that the skinny black line on the left isn't as sharp or high as the one on the right. How can we tell? It's because we're looking at the same reflection at the same angle, at the same how close it is or not, and perspective, shall I say. And that's how we can tell what's more deeper than the other. Now, if I move it a little bit, you can see I'm moving in closer. It doesn't look so obvious, or it doesn't look so owl's eye. So if you have a deeper dent using lines, you either have to go wider lines. Generally, you don't have that option, because 1/4 inch are probably the between lines. So you got 1/2 inch lines, 1/4 inch lines, and then eighth inch lines. 1/8 inch lines are more advanced because it's going to show you more detail at once. 1/4 inch lines are more of the happy medium. And then 1/2 inch lines is when you are starting a much bigger dent, so you can see the bottom of the dent more easier. So now that we got that out of the way, you can see that we've got 1/4 inch lines, and we're using a tap down that's very sharp. Now he's got his hand level with his tap down directly against the high spot, and he sees the reflection going through on the tap down, between the tap down. That's what you want. You don't want your fingers in the way or anything like that, okay? You have to stay eye level. If you are watching this video, you can see his hand is directly, his palm, side of his palm is keeping that tap down nice and level, all right? And when you have that, when you put a tap down, well, you're going to have a very nice, even tap. When you have it crooked, like how I'm showing in the video, you're going to slip. And if you slip, it's telling you, hey, you're not level. Make sure you stay level. And then that way you'll have a nice clean tap. See, what people don't understand, ladies and gentlemen, is that if you don't tap down right, your dent is never going to look good. Never. That's why glue pulling is so important. You need to make sure that you understand your highs. You need to see the highs, and you need to tap down accurately. You have to be good at both. But what makes you better at those? How do you get better at seeing the highs and tapping down the highs? Well, the key is to move that dang darn board. Don't get lazy. Do not ignore your reflection, because when you try to get ahead of your reflection and not move it, well, it's kind of like not looking at the map, not knowing where you're going. You're going to get lost. So make sure you pay attention. Pay attention to what the tap down is doing, and that's not what you want to do. You want to make sure it's level and then tap it down. All right. So there, watch this tap. Okay. Watch him tap it. Tap, lift up. He's going to tap, lift up. And then the line, the skinny line is going to get slightly wider every time. And you're going to look, and you're not going to go bang, 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 bang. Because if you do that, how do you know if you made a mistake or not? Slow it down. You'll eventually get faster as you get more experienced, okay? Now, let's do another one right here. You're going to tap, lift up, and move. I don't want to get too crazy into this. If this is something that interests you, I am going to plug it, because you guys are going to see and hear me talk about a lot of details, and that's on denttrainer.com. Go check it out, okay? I encourage you. The number one question I get is, what tool should I get? What should I buy? You know, that is probably one of the things that you don't want to go buy tools yet until you understand how to use them. Save your money. Invest a minimum of $110 to go on Dent Trainer and check it out. I promise you, you're going to save money. And not only that, you're going to get tool discounts from the major tool brands out there. And that will help you save the money, because you need to know how to use the tools, what the tools are for, and all that good stuff. So go check it out, denttrainer.com. Start on PDR Ground Zero. That's all in order, so you're not jumping out of place and wondering if that's the videos you should be watching in order. Go check it out, okay? Meanwhile, let's talk about some of the new tools that are out right here. Some of the new tools that I've been using, let's start with Ultra. Now, I did a little video last week. I was testing this new platform out, and we're talking about this new handle system here from Ultra. It is a socket system handle system. It is a handle system that you can quickly put together, build it to a handle one length or a T-handle. So if you're in a door, you probably want the one-sided handle. If you're pushing on a quarter panel or pushing on a fender, you want a T-handle or a roof or something like that. So I'm going to show you what I mean. Let's watch the little video clip here. So look how compact that is. First of all, it's very compact. It's small. And you can take the ball, which already has a socket in it, and it just plugs right in. Look at that. You can make it small and compact as you like. you can start building it up. You can make a little T handle if you wanted to. It's super convenient. I mean, this is probably one of the most convenient, quick handle systems you can use. Now, this is designed for Ultra's system, so you will still need the other system from Anson for the Tequila line and the A1 line, but the Ultra, this is the one I use. There's no reason for me not to have any other handle unless I still want to use a customized one. But look how great, look how easy that is for you to just quickly design and build the comfort that you want. Leverage is everything when you are pushing, okay? If the lengthwise makes a huge difference, creates that gigantic leverage, which makes life a lot easier. Trust me, look at the length you can build that on. Freaking tremendously. Now, another thing is check this out. So what this is that not only is it a quick release, it's also a ratchet. So you just pull it and then turn it to the position you want without the handle coming off. Really fantastic. Now, for you guys who are listening, now you really have to watch this video, this video cast. It is awesome for you guys to check out. Okay. So that's the Ultra system. Go check it out. Put the link down here. You can go check out the pricing. It is not cheap though. It's going to probably run you in between $325 to $375, depending on the sale they have or they don't have a sale. It just really depends. So at the time of this video, that's what it's generally going to cost you. Now, let's talk about Anson's. Anson's got a new inline handle. Now, I really like this inline handle. It is the lightsaber of handles. It looks like a Luke Skywalker handle. Now it works the same as the Gorilla Grip. Matter of fact, it is the Gorilla Grip. You got the little button on the other side that I'm not quite seeing. You can see it right there. It is another one. Check this out. See how this? Let's go to this. Now you see there's the button. And it's got a button on the inside or the outside of it. And you just push in, put your A1 or Tequila hub, connect it right in, and it's perfect for those double shots. So if you're doing a quarter panel, you're doing a roof, you're doing a hood, this is a go-to tool. Very comfortable. Having an inline is super comfortable, especially something that you can build. You can put a ball tip on it. This is the first one that I've owned that you can put a ball tip on the inline one. Super good. I'm putting the link on the description so you guys can go check it out. They just came out. I love it. It's fantastic. Very good job that Anson did that. So it's definitely a needed one. And the machining on it is just top notch. Very top notch. So that's the inline. So let's talk about this tool right here. Now this is one of the Gorilla Grips. Yep. This is the LCA. This is the leverage control attachment. Now, what is that? Well, that attachment, we're not talking about the Gorilla Grip. I was like, yeah, I'm trying to pull that off. The LCA is an attachment that goes on the dent dial. And then you can put your Anson, or I keep calling it Anson, the Gorilla Grip or tactical handle right on the LCA. Now the LCA attaches to the dent dial, which creates a tremendous amount of leverage. So I'm going to actually pull up my phone here and we're going to go check that out. Okay. So let's go check, see what that is. So this is what I'm talking about. Look now it turns that dent dial into a monster. Like it turns it into another dynamic of a tool. Let me just see if I can go here. Look at that. Creates the crazy amount of dent. Look at the dent I got to push out. Look at the leverage I've got now. What it does is attaches to the end of your dent dial, right? It's got the hub of just like an A1 tool or a Tequila tool, and then you attach your Gorilla Grip handle to it. and you tighten it down to the dent dial, and it extends the dent, not only extends the dent dial's leverage point, but it also creates just a comfortable way to hold the dent dial and give you that comfortable power for your tool. And then here it is up close, just to give you an idea what it looks like and how it's really connects. I really like it. Look at that. Tremendous amount of power right there. And that dent is not going to be easy. Go check that out. LCA. Eric Patton actually is the one that created that. And he showed it to me and he's like, well, what do you think? I'm not sure if it's going to work and yada, yada, or how well it will take off. And I tried it and I was like, whoa, this thing is great. It changes the dynamic, like I mentioned, of your dent dial. Now, I am going to prefer to use a dent dial 22 heavy on a tank, on a motorcycle tank, a Harley in particular, because it's going to work less, it's going to work more with less flex. So the less flex you have in a tool, the more drive and quicker results you're going to see in your pushes. So that's LCA. Check it out. It's definitely a must-have if you have a dent dial. You definitely want to get that, okay? So here's the other thing here. So let's talk about how it uses, look at this. So what you're seeing right now is it being attached with more lengths of the Gorilla Grip or tactical handle, and it creates more leverage, and it's going through the side of the truck with that dent dial. Just it makes the dent pushing like fun and pushes like butter. So there's another way you could use it. You can use it on front fenders. You name it, you can use it. Okay. I really like it. So go check that out. So it gives you a little insight of that. I did do some more insights like this before on another live video on Facebook, but I thought I'd just put it in here on my PDR videocast and podcast to just kind of give you guys some more insights who didn't see it, because I know some of you aren't on Facebook, so I might as well just put that on here. Now, let's go check out Kiko. So I recently shot something with Kiko here, Chris White from Kiko. He has a really nice system here for auto body repairs. And so I got the chance to work with some of his stuff. He has kind of a new light too as well. And it's more geared towards the body shop and PDR, like, you know, glue pull, get the meat out, and then you can do your traditional PDR. But he's really trying to focus on the auto body industry, and we'll show you here too. Now, by all means, this is a very, very good tool. He came out with his new Pogo or hustle stick, or you want to call it, is it's called the K stick that you see over here in the corner right here. And let me show you how it works here. Let me see. We're gonna place it because we've got a nice dent up here. It's this chain slides up and down. He's got a little mechanism, not mechanism, but he's got a little slot that it can go up and down on that area. So check this out. So we got a dent here, and we put the centipede tabs right there on the crease. Okay. Now some of you guys would say, well, why don't you use cold glue? Again, cold glue is great for most applications, but you don't always want to shock the metal. Not always, okay? The edge could be too flimsy. Maybe you want more control. And this isn't about which technique would be better. That's really isn't. It's just to show you your options, right? So right now what he has is the centipede tab. And what we do is we hook up the Pogo, the K stick, right, with the centipede tabs. And what's cool about the centipede tabs, he has that adapter that hooks on there and able to pull more metal. Watch this. Let me see if you can pull that there. Look at this. Boom. So if you're listening, what we're describing is that he's got a nice fat dent right by the edge of the quarter panel, and we connect the centipede tab, which is kind of curved a little bit, and we put it right following the dent of that quarter panel dent, and we hook up the centipede tab to it using the K-stick, and this K-stick leverages against the tire while we're pulling, being real control. All right, and then it can release. Now, can you use a bridge system? Yes. Can you use other things? Yes, you could. Again, just showing you options of what's available with Kiko. Okay. Well, I'm going to go through a bunch of different things down the lines what other companies have and whatnot. But Kiko's got some of the most advanced glue pulling systems that you could possibly imagine. Now, this video will be on denttrainer.com. It will also be probably out in public too as well, because this is meant to kind of show the PDR industry body shop about what is possible. So stay tuned for that. So that is the PDR tool report. And that kind of gives you some insight about some of the latest tools. I'll try to bring you as much as I can with different clips and whatnot. I love to talk about tools and the benefits of those. So meanwhile, let's get right into the interview with Joe and Jeff from Beat Cities. You're going to find this pretty interesting if you stick around and listen to the whole thing. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Now, we got some cool guests as usual. Yeah, you know Joe Garcia, man. So you've seen him before. Thanks, Joe, for coming on again, man. Garcia. And
my pleasure.
And we got Jeff Magill. Jeff,
hey, what's up?
Jeff, we filmed with you a couple weeks ago with your you doing that smash on the front fender. Oh no, front door, right? Front right door of
right.
that
Correct.
Ford Expedition, right?
Yep.
So we'll get into that. I wanted to kind of introduce everybody formally, and then Joe's going to fire away and get some questions, because Joe has been, Joe came prepared, man.
I've been stalking you, Jeff.
His research. Yeah,
Yeah,
I like
he
the
did do
research.
his
That's
research.
really good.
Yeah, he did do his research. So Jeff, look, we didn't get to talk about some of the details in the video. I kind of was bummed about that. So we want to talk about your history, a little bit more lengthy, how long you've been doing PDR. You've been on some pretty good shows too, like Overhauling. You built a relationship with Chip Foose. You even brought that car, one of his cars was there at the last meetup that we were with you guys, right? So let's touch base on that. So you've been in the business for how long?
1996, April 4th of 96 is the day I quit my last job. So I've been doing this ever since. Actually, I'm sorry. I got started training in April, and then Labor Day weekend of 96 is when I quit, and I've been doing Dents full time ever since. So yeah, just about 25 years now.
And we talked behind the closed doors, behind the scenes on the video. But you are one of the first PDR techs that I know. One of them, I'm saying the first. Right. I mean, I'm not going to go. Who cares about that? But you are one of the first to have a PDR shop. And
absolutely.
What year did you have the PDR shop? You started in 96. So what year?
Let's see. The shop I have now moved in 06. I had another one in 03 to 06. 01. So probably about year 2000, I had my first shop. There's kind of a history on the shop. So I had my first shop in about year 2000. Took a big chance, jumped out there, and did it for like 3 months, and realized it was a little bit too much overhead, couldn't do it. So we shut that one down. And then we opened up a shop in about 2001. And that's actually right like a half block away from where we're at now. That shop did pretty good. And then we had a big location opened up on Beach Boulevard, where we moved in there in 2003, and that was I had big ambitions on that one. So we went from a small little 900 square foot shop to about a 1,500 square foot shop, but it was on prime location on a very busy boulevard on Huntington Beach, about 100,000 cars a day driving by, and we stepped up the big money to pay rent, and we went from doing about 35 cars a month to about 200 and 225 cars a month. Instantaneously overnight. And it was the idea was we moved into a drive-through oil change facility that went out of business. So we had 2 bays, So the idea was drive-through dent repair. And I don't know anybody in the entire country who was doing that except for a guy named Terry out in St. Louis called Dent Devils. He had one too, right about the exact same time we did. But we were the only ones on this West Coast that had one, and it was the bomb. It worked out amazing, doing up to, like I said, 200 to 245 cars a month, and had 4 technicians and a receptionist, and it worked out great. And then, unfortunately, the guy wanted to raise the rent because he saw how well we were doing, and we ended up buying the place we're at now. And we've been there 15 years, and it's probably one of the best things I ever did. And we don't do as many cars a month, but we crank out cars, and we don't need as much overhead.
It's amazing that you're actually you had a shop. You said you couldn't make it that way, but then you did it again. You tried it anyways, taking a chance, because still nobody was even thinking about why have a shop, right? Well, let's do mobile. I mean, Joe, I know you probably weren't thinking that, right? I mean, there wasn't even crossing your mind, right, to have a shop.
I was after I saw Jeff doing it.
Yeah. Jeff, do you think having a shop like where you were, do you think it was the location that kept you? Because PDR, people didn't know much about PDR. You had to have been promoting a lot in order to get people's attention. How did you get that? How did you market that?
Which one?
Well, the shop, the one off Beach Cities Boulevard, like right there. Or,
yeah,
Beach Cities,
the one on
Beach Boulevard.
The one on Beach Boulevard, right?
Yeah.
So that one there. So, man, there's a lot going on there. You'll see it in Joe's research. But that was back when the internet was pretty much starting, and when we moved on to Beach Boulevard into that shop, we didn't have a website. If we did, it didn't work worth a darn. And one of the guys I hired to work with me helped me build my first website while we were already there. So when we moved in, we did not have a website technically. We were like on the ground level, but there's so much drive-by traffic there. People just drove in there, and there's pictures of people. It just backed up in the shops. People just driving in all day long. But it was a good time, and that's where everything got started. And we started pumping money into. When we moved into that place, we had a ton of advertising in the phone books, car washes, car club ads like the PCA for California Porsche Club Members of America, and that was the transition time of paper advertising over to internet advertising. And that's where everything changed. Now I was spending a ton of money in advertising, going from phone books, and then transitioning over to internet. And that's where it took place, 2003 to 2006.
Now, who was your team back then? Was it just still you and you like, we're going to get to, I know you just hired someone new, but but who was that? Who were you working with then?
So that back then, there was guys that were traveling and doing hail that I knew, and there's some local guys who did hail during the summer months. And so because the shop had such a good location, dent guys were just driving in. Like, hey, what's going on? I saw your shop here. I want to check it out, And so they did. They come by, check it out, and I, kind of by default, I kind of naturally select them, without telling them, and I'd kind of pick out the guys I wanted to work for me, and then because they all wanted to work there. They're like, oh, this is great. I want to work. I want a shop. I want to work in a shop, And so we still hung on to the mobile service. We did the shop, and had me, my brother. I trained him just a couple years before that, so he was working for me, and then 2 other guys, and I had hired a receptionist, and everything worked out really good back then.
Wow.
And then we moved into the shop we're at now, and then 2008 recession hit. We moved in there in 2006. The recession hit in 2008. That was scary. So we got rid of two of the technicians and the receptionist, which was a bummer. And then I kept my brother on, just me and him, and we made it work. And it's just gotten better ever since. Just kept natural progression.
That's awesome.
The economy
man.
got better, and it just got to keep hanging in there.
That's great, man. I remember
that's perseverance.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I seem to remember you being one of the first advertisers online for PDR back in, it seemed like the early 2000s, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that was 2003, yeah. So a buddy of mine who I went through a couple guys, because when I was doing just purely mobile, I had different guys work for me. And the guys would come and go, because most of the guys that would go were the guys that I trained, and they would work for me, and they would realize, okay, this is too hard. I can't do this. This is too much work. Not just the dent repair was too much work, but the amount of energy it takes to make your mobile service work, making the appointments, calling people back. I mean, all that stuff. You know how it is. We still do it today. You just got to be on it. If you're not on it, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
You got to be on it.
Well, I think that probably another person that's probably helping. I see your wife helping you out a lot. I mean, has she always been helping you out in the back end of that?
In the last few years, she's jumped in and helped me out with the calling people back, making sure reminders to customers, making sure they show up the next day, help me out with the calendar. So yeah, she's been a big asset this last couple of years for sure. Good. Helping out a lot. But otherwise before that, it was just me and my brother and whoever else we had kind of helping us out. But I've pretty much been running it 95% of the time.
Now, what do you think is the biggest thing that you've learned owning a shop, Jeff? I mean, some guys who are thinking about owning a shop, is there anything on the top of your head that you would give them, a little bit of a summary of some advice on how to start a shop, keep your shop, and obviously keep it afloat like you have?
Yeah, it's so long history, really short. My first job was working at a body shop when I was 15. And I've been working at an automotive shop, whether it's body shop or mechanical shop. That's my background, mechanical, 10 years of mechanical before I started doing this. I've always been working in a shop since I was 15 years old. It's just what I know, how to write up a work order, how to, get customer signatures and just deal with customers and customer service. Starting up a shop, if you want to get a shop, you got to be on it. You got to answer the phone, whether you're mobile service or have a shop, you got to answer your phone. Constantly, every single time it rings, you got to answer your phone. And I still get people telling me, I'm coming to you because you're the 1 out of 5 guys that answer your phone. I still get that from day one. I'm like, I can't believe that people don't answer their phone. I get frustrated every day because I get a ton of marketing calls. It's ridiculous. But I still answer them. It says, oh my gosh, you have to, because nowadays with all the spam calls you get, I actually get customers calling up and it'll say spam on my cell phone, and it's actually a customer calling. So it's like it's backwards now. But anyway, got to answer your phone. That's one of the biggest things. Good customers make people love you, and do good work. That's the biggest thing. Do good quality service work, and don't try to hide anything. A lot of guys back in the day used to hide their work. I don't hide it. I'm out there in front. And I let people see my work, and if it's $150 and it takes 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, they watch me do it. And nobody ever says, everyone loves it. They don't, you can't hide anything.
Right. They're paying for your expertise, your results, Right. I mean, Joe, we just kind of talked about that like last podcast, right?
Yeah. I mean, the importance of even showing your imperfections in your work. Do you do that as well, Jeff? Do you think that's important as well?
Yeah, so I never sell a customer when I first talk to him doing an estimate. I never sell them at 100%. What I do tell them is, my worst case scenario, is going to be close to perfect. And they love hearing that, because it's true. My 90%, my 95% is a pretty high standard. And people know that when they come in the shop, and techs know that when they come in the shop. I'm pretty high on that. So I really educate my customers, telling them that, this is what you're going to get. It might crack, it might not crack, but I always, up forth and tell them up front, what's going to happen, what's not going to happen, exactly how I'm going to get that dent out, why it's difficult, why it's on the body line, what's the seam line. I explain everything out to them, sometimes twice, and they understand it and they get it, So you just got to be up front with the customers.
Well, we're looking at your work here. Let me just pull up your Instagram, and then Joe can, Joe, if you want to fire away what you were mentioning here, I'll kind of just navigate as you're leading the way. But first of all, this is your site, right, Jeff? So
right.
Beach Cities PDR. I'm gonna go to your Instagram because that's some of your latest work here. Let's go.
You got a new tech, Jeff?
Yeah.
Yep. Taylor Nolan. He actually worked out really, really well. He called me back during the summer, and he moved out here from Michigan, looking to move out here with his girlfriend and start a new career or whatever. And he called me up and said, "You're one of the only guys who call me back," believe it or not. And he showed me, he looked at 5 different places. And he liked ours the best, and I tried him out for. I gave him a 90-day trial. That ended at the first of the year, And we brought him on board full time, and he's working out really good tech. Comes from Minnesota, working at a dealership, doing a lot of hail work, a lot of door dings, nothing big at all, nothing bigger than a softball because they wouldn't do it. The dealership thought it couldn't be done. And he's been learning big dents out here, and he's showing the pictures back to his old boss and his dad who took his place at the dealership. And they're blown away by what he's doing out here already.
Wow.
So
that's
he's
good.
learned a lot.
That's good. Yeah. You have a good variety of things here, Joe. If you want to go ahead and
yeah, well, I went total fanboy on you, Jeff, and I got a whole bunch of questions.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, I was paying attention, early on, actually, Jeff. Back in the day, I started back in '97, and then I started my own, company in 2000. Mm-hmm. And so, first thing I did, I jumped online, and I think you were the first person I saw, even before I saw Mike. And I was impressed, man. I remember seeing your minimum being $125.
Right.
And this was at a time when most of us were like $65, and that's if we were good. I mean,
when was this? This was probably back in 06.
Man, I thought it was earlier. I felt like it was earlier, but it could have been 06.
Okay.
I see some of your great work right here.
Yeah. There's some nasty ones on there for sure.
So what happened with this?
Which one's that?
This is one with all the chewies and stuff. Are you explaining what's going on? Like, did someone do bad PDR?
I've got to see the.
Oh, here. I'll show you. It's this one right here.
I think.
Oh, sorry. Hold on. It's this one.
Yeah. I was looking at the wrong one. Yeah, that's a previous repair. It's a horrible job. The guy, I think he actually came to me first, and then he went to another guy because he was a lot cheaper, and that's what he got. The guy drilled a hole, didn't even plug it, and there it is. He didn't even straighten the hole, didn't plug it or nothing, and that one came out super clean. I mean, he chunked that thing. Just destroyed it.
Wow!
I color sanded it. It actually came out pretty good. I think it's got paint damage on it too. The paint started coming off, so we touched it up for him. He was happy with it.
What kind? Was that a Beamer?
I couldn't even tell you. Let me pull it up.
It looks like it. Cause look at our Mercedes. It looks like a handle. The handle of maybe a Beamer or Mercedes.
The reason why I ask is because, as you guys know, man, the German cars you can color sand for days.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Anything else, man? I don't know.
Yeah, the Toyota is horrible. Again, if you guys are listening to this, we are showing a video of this. Hopefully, you can see this if you're on iTunes or Podbean. Now, yeah. So, Jeff, walk me through how you're doing this. How did you get this straightened out? Because we're not listening to the audio, but we're just kind of watching. And you just flattened everything out with that VIP metal tip.
Yeah. So those VIPs are great for the real sharp dents that you got, like right there, the little push marks that you get right before the paint cracks.
Yeah.
But I from what I remember, I probably started off with a little bit of a soft tip, like a black tip. And then I went in there with like an ultra pick, the chrome picks, and then just picked that thing out between different picks, and then just eventually got it flat and kept knocking it down with the VIP. And then I probably did a little color. Maybe I didn't do a color sand on it. I'm watching that video there.
That's
again.
A good save, Jeff.
Yeah, it saved. Yeah, cleaned up really clean. But yeah, the paint was actually missing on that, so I didn't do any color sand on that at all. Okay. Yeah, no color sand. I couldn't. The paint was actually down to the primer.
Right.
Now, was that cost from the tech? Was that cost from the guy who did he crack paint? Is that what he did when he?
Oh yeah, the paint came off. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
The paint was actually off, so I think that one there. I probably had my guy spot paint it for us real quick.
Wow.
Just to make. Do you get perfect. A lot of that, Jeff?
Don't get a lot. No, I do not actually. I get a lot of dents with chips in it or little cracks sometimes, but I don't do any. We hardly ever do any spot painting at all. We've probably done it once this year. That's about it. Hardly at all.
How about
try to keep everything away from paint?
How about previous PDR work? Do you get much of those?
Not much. I probably had 3 or 4 this year, but not a whole lot of it. You don't get a whole bunch of it, but you do get some. A lot of the ones I do get are, I don't even do them because they're not even doable. They're not even fixable. They're just destroyed.
Right.
Now,
Yeah,
who trained you, Jeff?
So that goes back to everyone likes to put their lineage back on there, right? So a guy by the name of Jeff Wright trained me, who was a brother of a good friend of mine who I grew up with just out of high school working as a mechanic. And back in 1988, he was talking to us saying, "Hey, I'm going to go get trained and learn PDR." We're like, "What's that?" I don't even think they call it PDR. They just call it paintless stem removal. He got trained by a guy from Dent Masters out here in 1988, who was the first one to do it in Orange County or Southern California even. And he got trained. We kind of laughed at him a little bit, didn't really understand what it was. He brought a bunch of these rods and picks down. We're like, "What are you going to do with that?" And he's like, "Well, you push the dent out." And thinking back on it, he couldn't explain it properly. But anyway, I got trained by him in 96, beginning of 96, and he developed a really good reputation in those 8 years he was doing it out here. And unfortunately, he passed away probably about 12 years ago from leukemia at 40 years old. And anyway, so he's gone, and he trained me, and that goes back. He got trained by Mike Updegraff, who used to own Dent Precision up in Rancho Santa Margarita in the early 90s. And he got trained down through the Dent Wizard process, I think. And Rich Price even too.
I know Rich Price. Is he still around?
Yeah, he's still around. He's doing dents out of his house. He used to have a shop. He was one of the first guys to have a shop. He had a shop before I did.
Yeah, Auto Recon, right?
Yeah, Auto Recon in Irvine.
Yeah. Joe, fire away, man.
Yeah. How long was your training, Jeff? Do you remember?
Oh, man.
Roughly?
Probably about 3 weeks, roughly. I went to his house. I would go to his house in Costa Mesa, not far from my house, actually, now. And I'd go there about 2 or 3 times a week and get about 2 hours worth of training. And I'd go home and practice. And I'd practice literally every single night for about an hour and a half, 2 hours on a hood. I'd make a dent, take it out, make another one, take it out, make another one, take it out. And I did that for like 4 months, literally every single day after work. And then, he trained me for about a good 3. It took about 2 months, but it was about 1 or 2 days a week, maybe 2 or 3 days a week. But yeah, probably about 3 weeks out of the month. So
needless to say, there's a fair amount of self-training involved as well.
Oh my gosh, yeah. From obviously the stuff that I know now, there's no way he didn't. I look back and he did not show me a lot. He did not show me very much. He obviously had 8 years of skin in the game, and he was showing me small dents. He wasn't doing anything like I'm doing now. There's no way. He wasn't doing it. He was doing everything softball size or smaller. But he was a good tech, that's for sure.
Yeah.
He got a really good reputation. But like I said, unfortunately, he passed away.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, man.
Yeah.
What tools was he having you learn with?
So the tools I believe he had were dent gear, the old school dent gear. They're really flimsy tools. Sal owns that company. I used to own that company. That's where I got the Gorilla Bar from. He bought those tools, and I didn't like those kind of style tools. And I learned about Dentcraft. It's like, oh, great, we got some good, strong, powerful tools with different tips on it, and they had leverage. They had cheater bars on them that you could attach to the handles, which I thought was great. But the only tool, I had the Gorilla Bar for years. I actually had it for another 6 years. It sat in the back of my truck, and I never used it for like 5 or 6 years. And then one day I picked it up, like, I got to use this thing because I need some more strength. And that was the only tool that I had that had strength, and it did not flex. And that was my go-to tool it's still to this day. It's like I use that thing constantly.
Yeah.
How far were you in your career when you discovered that?
Oh my gosh. It was I probably started using that back in 2003. 2002, maybe, roughly.
Isn't that beautiful though? Like when you rediscover a tool that was just sitting there.
Oh my gosh!
Where is that bar at? Where can I look at? It's on my.
What's that?
Where's the bar at?
I don't have it in pictures here, but it's on my tool cart.
No, on the website. Where can someone look at it and find it?
Oh, I don't think I have a picture of it on the website.
No, does anybody else like Ultra
Like
has something similar to it, right?
something similar.
So Dent gear, well, they're all out of them. You can't get them anymore. I don't know who makes them.
Let me see if I can pull one
Dent
up.
gear, all the old. I'm the only one I know who has the particular bar that I have, but Dent Gear started remaking them. And then they sold them all on the Dentcraft website, and now they're all gone.
Yeah, I knew Ultra Dent Tools has something similar to it. I forgot what they call it.
Yeah, it's probably a double bend.
No, it's a slow bend like that, like
Is it?
yours. Yeah.
Okay. So Steve finally probably did it.
Is that a changeable tip tool, Jeff?
No, it's just it's a flat tip. It's just a flat tip on the end with just a slow curve on it.
Okay.
Huh.
You know, we used to put plastic plugs, the hard plastic ones, on the tip of our tools and tape them on to create a flat push.
Okay, bringing that up, I used to do there's a guy up in Huntington Beach, had a Porsche shop. He used to work on 356 Porsches and 550 Spiders all the time. He had a really good young kid who was a machinist. And I had some tool tips that were made by the Dent Man out in Georgia, and they had round tips on them. So I gave him some Delrin. I had sticks of Delrin, like big long chunks of it, and I'd have him machine lay them out, and I could put the plastic ball tips on this machine tip tool, the dent tool, and I had a good round, perfect ball tip.
Nice.
That was probably the first one. I think back on it, nobody had tool tips back then, but interchangeable tips, and these were probably the first one I ever knew about. I think I showed them to you at my shop, Mike.
Yeah.
Last 2 times ago you were out. There's plastic ball tips.
Okay, I think I found it, guys. I think I found it. I'm going to pull it up in a second here. They call it. Oh, shoot! Come on, you ding dong. I'm going to pull that up. Come on. Go ahead. You guys keep going.
Okay. Well, okay. So
yeah, I
next
had
question.
a different size. Yeah, I could switch them out.
No, you go ahead. Yeah. So the next
That was better.
question.
But yeah, I'd put those tips on. I could put tape on them to soften them up like a dead blow, and it worked out perfect.
Nice, man. Clean. That was as clean as we could get them back then, huh, Jeff?
Oh
Okay.
yeah, absolutely.
So
Yep.
here is that's it. That's Ultra's version. That looks like yours, Jeff.
Yeah, it's pretty close. That curve's not big enough, but it can work.
But it's
to see
similar
that
to that,
curve in
right?
it.
That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
And that's
Should take a
Ultra.
picture of it and send it.
that's Ultra's, but it's somewhat like what Jeff was saying. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Someone's got to reproduce that tool, man, because you're going to have a lot of people interested.
It's
in it now.
amazing that like a tool, just a slight different bend makes a huge difference, dude. You know, it makes
Right.
makes a crazy difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
See if I can
So,
pull it up here.
How'd you meet Chip, Jeff?
Okay, so that's
Chip Foose, we're talking, right?
Yep.
Chip Foose.
Chip Foose, the builder, the hot rod builder, right? So
Yes, sir.
back in, let's see, how long ago was it? Man, it was probably the early 2000s again. So here we go. Probably back out early 2003 or so. I have a large connection of contacts that I've made. They're really good resources of people that I've worked with. There's a huge, you can actually see them up here. So you got Mother's Polish on the back, on the backboard up there. You can see different companies on
Yeah.
the wall. Like Mother's Polish is up on the left.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay, so all these different, like people like that, and then you got Sir Michaels, who used to build louvers and grills and stuff for trucks back in the 90s. They're a huge company. There was a guy working for him named Craig Chafers. Hold this picture right here. I don't see him in the picture. Anyway, so a guy named Craig Chafers was working for a company called Sir Michaels. Sir Michaels was famous for back in the 90s doing lowered trucks and louvers and panels and such like that. And if you go back to my truck and trailer. Okay, there's my trailer. So Sir Michaels actually built that trailer. Okay, they built it for their company, right? That's what he was famous for. But anyway, so he let me buy that trailer because he wanted to get rid of it. I bought that trailer for $1,000.
Wow.
Anyway, I don't want to get off track here. So Craig Chafers, who helped build that trailer and worked for this company, saw the kind of work I was doing taking dents out. Not many people were doing it. And back then there was a good clique of automotive groups, or automotive group. It was you got Chip Foose, you got Mothers, you got Sir Michael's, you got Classic Cars Detailing, you got OPG, Original Parts Group, and Mitch Lanzini Body Works, big paint guy, big famous paint guy. Bunch of a few other guys. And anyway, they started doing overhauling, and I was already doing work for Craig on some of these cars and these lowered trucks they were building. He liked my work, and then Craig became the build manager for overhauling. So one day they got the very first time overhauling ever called me was out in Vegas. They were doing their first overhauling show at SEMA Show. They were doing the first build there, and so Craig said, "Hey, why don't you come out to Vegas and watch us film the show? And if we need you, we'll use you." I was like, "Okay, cool." So the show was just about over. I was there the whole week, and I drove out to Vegas, drove home. So the show was almost over. I drove all the way home, got all the way back to Orange County, and I get a phone call at like 6 o'clock in the afternoon or late in the evening, and it was Craig, and he says, "Hey, we got a dent in the Mustang. Can you come out and do it?" I'm like, "I just drove home. I thought the show was over." He's like, "No, we need you." So I got home at like 6:30, changed in about an hour and a half, got all my clothes, and I drove back to Vegas that night. And you can go back to that picture, the other one, the green Mustang in it.
Which one?
The green Mustang, an overhauling picture.
Oh, this one?
No.
Oh, no. Let's see
The earlier one. Anyway, so I got back there at like 12 o'clock at night.
That's one.
That one there, right there. That's the green Mustang. That's at the SEMA show in Las Vegas. And so anyway, they called me up and said, "Hey, can you come back and do this?" I was like, "Oh my gosh!" So I went ahead and things you got to do to sacrifice to get your name out there, right? So I drove back, and at 2 a.m, I was doing the dent on that Mustang, and I was like, "This is my first time. First time I met Chip, and I've actually met him once before, but this was the first time I got some good recognition for doing some dent repair, and it was Chip's idea to bring me out, which was great." So at 2 a.m, I'm doing the dent on the Mustang, and I didn't know how it was going to go, and I was dead tired. I was working on this dent. They let me drill a hole, luckily, because I needed to on the Mustang, and I did a dent on the fender and the dent on the right front door, and did that. And anyway, back home, and then the show aired months later, and I got a lot of airtime on that, and I got a huge plug on it. And I was like, I probably had about 25, 30 seconds of airtime on that show, which is actually a lot for an individual to get. And they really liked it. They showed the metal moving. They showed me working on it, and they talked about it, and they referenced it, and it was awesome. It was really, really good.
Yeah, there you guys are right there, the whole crew right there.
Yeah, that was that wasn't too long. That was like 2019. That was just last year, a couple of years ago, year and a half ago. So yeah, ever since then, Chip liked what I've done on the show, and so he started using me ever since then. We've become pretty good friends now, so that worked out really good.
Yeah, he actually dropped off that cool car over there at the dent meetup right there at your shop.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was good. That was fun stuff. That was all carbon fiber car, but we couldn't take any dents out of it.
Yeah.
What a huge win for you, Jeff. I mean, that's tremendous, man.
Oh, that's huge.
And it's a huge win for PDR because it
absolutely
makes this legitimate,
Yeah, Chip really enjoys I let him try it on dent. I let him try the dent repair sometimes when we're on the set, and he'll try it out. He's actually a natural talent. He's pretty good at it, but it takes a different type of patience. So he just lets me do it. Yeah, works out good that way,
Yeah.
But he uses it all. He loves. He'll buy a car and he'll send it over to my shop. And the first thing he does is, "Jeff, take all the dents out, and I'm going to go back and restore that car. No Bondo."
Sweet.
It works out real cool. Yeah.
Has he ever asked you to see if he could push a dent out?
No, but one time he hasn't asked me, but I mean, I let him do it, and he helps me out quite a bit. But there's one episode we did back in 2008, I think it was. It was a Suburban or a Tahoe, and it was a kidney bean. I'm sorry, it was a kidney. What happened? It was a military guy was helping out his buddy. He lost his kidney, donated his kidney, and anyway, so I told Chip, I goes, hey Chip, do this door for me. So I drilled. We had a hole in the door, and I gave him a tool, and we were going to call it Foose PDR, and they filmed it and everything. It was awesome. He was taking the dent out and everything, doing it's like we do, And they didn't air it. It would have been perfect. It would have been super cool to do that.
Yeah, that's a bummer. That's good TV.
There's good footage on that stuff too. I just don't have it. There's so much good footage out there that's not.
He can't get that footage and never give it to you, or he's not allowed to.
Well, it's owned by the network. Like back then, it was owned by Discovery Channel.
Oh, bummer.
So I mean, the people, the background people, they always change hands, and it's hard to get a hold of them anymore. So I got some footage, but not all. I don't have very much. They don't just give that out because there's hundreds and hundreds of hours of footage just from one episode, and they only use 40 minutes.
Yep, I know. So
Toledo's going to go and buy that footage, by the way.
Yeah, good luck.
Right? They're thinking about it, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, but yeah, you can any of these episodes though. You can go on Motor Trend TV, the app even, and you can watch all these episodes. And there's probably about a good 6 or 8 episodes that I'm on, which is not very many, but I'm on that many, which is actually quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, you hear my dog back there? So
good job, Jeff. That's freaking awesome.
So that was like basically the first time. Yeah, that's basically the first time PDR was ever put on TV. That was back in 2006.
Yeah.
No, that legitimized us, man, in a big way.
Oh, absolutely, it was huge. Yeah. Actually, I had guys call me from around the country and said, "Oh, thanks for doing that. A guy's got a customer was watching Overhaul, and he called the local guy, and he goes, I saw a guy on Overhaul doing dent repair, so I figured I'd call the local guy." And got a bunch of guys called me from around the country and said, "Thanks for putting that up," which is actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's good, man. That's good. Yeah.
Anything else, Joe? You going? What you got?
Well, I'm going to actually take a shift into the business, back to the business here.
Sure.
There's a lot of dent guys in OC, man. A lot, right?
Right.
Does the competition affect Beach City's PDR, Jeff?
Not really, because I've always had this idea. It's like growing up in the automotive world since I was 15. Like I said, there's too many cars on the road. There are too many cars. I mean, I kind of relate. I used to explain it the layman's way and say, like, you know what? People would say, "You worried about the competition?" Because I've gotten this question a lot. And I go, it's like a plumber. There's a billion plumbers out there, but everybody's got a house and everybody's got 4 toilets, or there's too much work out there, right? There's so much, you can't handle it all. There's hundreds and hundreds of body shops all throughout Orange County, and there's probably 5 shops of PDR, but there's a ton of mobile guys running around, but there's still not as many dent guys as there are body shops. And they're all full. Yeah. There's so much work out there. It's like it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the competition. I'm not really. You're kind of competing, but you're not, because there's just too much work. There's still too much work. There's a lot of dent guys, but you can see them come and go, and they advertise. The last couple of years, they're gone, or they move to go do hail or something. So
they give up.
Yeah,
because of all the things that you talked about earlier with the all the different, answering the phone, just being available, and you're juggling all that while you're doing a huge job, So
absolutely.
That's a big deal, man. I think a lot of people come and go. So needless to say, you would say you're customer focused as opposed to competition focused.
I would say it's probably 50-50.
Really?
I would say I'm worried. I'm not always worried about the competition. Not to try to brag, but I know my work. I know some of my work's a little bit better than most of the guys out there, but I know it's very comparable to a lot of guys out there. I mean, I know some guys around here that are awesome, and there's no competition. I know they're out there. Right. I'm just worried about the guys I don't know who actually lowball, which is a total bummer. That's the worst part. I'm not worried about the competition because all our competition is friendly around here, which is cool. That guy stop by and say, "Hey," And it's just the low bars that kill you. That's it. That's the only bummer part.
Yeah, they do more damage by putting the bad taste in the public's eye.
That's the worst.
Than the guys that you're right, Jeff. That I agree with you 100%. That's why I'm, I get along with all majority of my competition as well. I think that's what upholds the standard as well. I think the more people that we can put our work, and I thank God for Instagram and social media in a way. I know it's a double-edged sword, but it's also showing techs that didn't think what we do as a whole is possible. And then they see like the standards of, how Joe's doing his thing, his Instagram, and educating the public, how you're doing these smashes, Jeff, and talking about your business. That sets a bar, for many techs. And I think in the end, we are winning. It's just little setbacks, and that's why it's important to educate. I think we're all doing our part. I have my own unique way of doing it. Joe does his. And Jeff, can I ask you a question, man? Because this is something I've been asking. I try to ask people, so if they're going to come on my show, I'm going to mention it. Is there a reason why you don't put pricing on like how much a dent costs, or you haven't thought about it? I'm just curious.
I tried to in the past, and it's well, because every dent is different. The problem is you post a picture. I got a quarter size dent in my car, and you post it. It's $125. Now every dent that you show is $125 when you know that's not true. You can get a car that takes you 5 minutes. You can get a car that takes you 2 hours to get that same size dent out. Yeah. You can't charge the same for it. So it's really difficult to charge a size of dent on a website, because now you're being held to it. And it's really hard to explain to that customer when they come in why you got to charge $400 more to get that one dent out. And it looks the same size as the one on the picture on the website. And
that's why I learned that a little bit last year. However, I stipulated it, and I said the price range is between this to this for a general fact, for a dent that's similar, but based on factors, it's it can range between $150 to $350. You know what I mean?
Right.
So. Based on factors, and it's no jab at you, Jeff. I'm just curious.
Totally fine. So to kind of you pulled up that picture off my website, Joe, about doing a dent in 10 minutes or less for $75.
Yes.
So that's why I came up with that. It kind of helps out with, if I can do a dent in 10 minutes or less, I'll charge $75. But otherwise, it's going to be $125 if it's more than that. Nobody ever squabbles over it, because it kind of makes sense, but it's only for that one dent that's going to take 10 minutes or less, because it's the only time it's really going to work.
Do you advertise that? You advertise that?
It's on my website.
It is
on the homepage.
Let me. Yeah. Where? Let me pull that up, dude.
I thought that was interesting, Jeff. It's thinking outside the box, man, and it's a way to compete with a lot of the low ballers.
Go scroll down. Yep.
Especially for the easy dings.
It's on the right.
Right here? Oh, right here?
On the bottom. On the right side, on the bottom.
It says I see it. Okay, hold on. I have to. Okay. Hold on, let me zoom out. Right there.
Yep, on the right side, yep.
There it is. Yeah.
There you go.
So we invite you to come to our shop with your small door dings. If we can remove your dent within 10 minutes or less, it's $75 instead of $125. We'll take 40% off. You know what, you sly dog, you? That's interesting. That's interesting. I'd raise that price though, Joe. I'd raise that price. You're too good, man. Too good. Too good, man. If I was your web guy, I'd be changing it to $90, $100.
Right.
Hey, man. You charge 75. I'm gonna kick me back 40, man. If I raise that up and you get the price, man.
Right.
It's a good strategy, Jeff.
It gets the little door dings in there, and so I get booked up pretty good at the shop. So little door dings like that, you just drive in, I'll still take care of it right there on the spot. I don't have to make an appointment for it.
Now, what's this? How now? I see that could be okay. This you've had to run into something. So what's this? This offer is for shop repairs at the Huntington Beach only. Mobile repairs are still $125. Okay, good. So what happens if a customer comes in with a deep ding? How do you explain that? Oh, it's always about how long it's going to take. How do you anybody question about how long it takes?
It's all about the time. It's all about the time. If I can do it, if I can't do it, so I can usually, if somebody comes in with a deep door ding, if they come in with a BB shot and it's almost fixable, it's going to take you probably about, half hour to 45 minutes to get that thing out. And I always explain to my customers how long it's going to take before I do it. This dent's going to take me a half hour to an hour. There's no way it's going to take 75. But if it takes me 10 minutes or less, you can watch me on the clock and I'll charge you $75.
It gets
works every time. It's a good
how
little
often?
strategy.
Let me ask you this: how often do you get those? Let's say a week.
Probably about 4 or 5.
Yeah.
But most of those people, they keep coming back.
Yeah, they'll bring their bigger dents later.
Yeah. Oh, totally. They come back, or they love the convenience of it. They'll put the 5-star review on Yelp or Google because, wow, they took care of me.
I have to say, Jeff, that is outside thinking of the box thinking. Now, when did you come up with that?
Man, that's probably been up there about 7 or 8 years.
Interesting.
Yep. You didn't even see it.
Yeah.
No.
People see it all the time.
And like you said, Mike, I mean, you could just fill in the blank. I mean, you can change that number to whatever works for your program.
See, the other thing, too, about that, it's 40% off. Who offers 40% off? And nobody asks about the 40%. They just want a lady came in last Friday. She had a door ding. It took me about an hour and a half. And she goes, my husband wanted me to ask you if you could do it in 10 minutes or less for $75. I'm like, well, if it does, I will. But this one's going to take me about an hour. So it's not going to happen. And they just kind of laughed it off like, oh, okay, cool.
So we're looking at this Porsche right here, dude.
That's a good one.
That Porsche is ridiculous, man.
Right.
Let me just pull it up here. Okay.
That's the first thing I noticed about your website, man, was that Porsche.
That one's brutal.
That looks like another Friday scene, like when Debo knocks him out and says, "You want some of this, punk?" Remember?
Right.
No.
Right? Look at that. It pulled away that seam line like an inch.
Now, how long ago was this?
About 4 years ago. May 28th, 2016.
You don't get enough credit for this, man.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I was asking, why didn't I see this before?
So what are you doing right there? I see a big old long rod, dude. What the hell is that,
see that rod
dude?
coming out of there? I was using, so that's the bedside tool from Dentcraft. It's a 6.5 foot long rod with a cherry tip on the top that's got a lot of tape on it. And so if you look in that arsenal of tools on the table on the right, I keep wanting to use my mouse, but you can't even see it.
Hold on.
But anyway, you can see I've got the Alice Kiko bar. I got the Alice K bar in there and the bridge tool. I ended up using the K bar quite a bit on that dent. You can see the big blue tabs I got on that table.
Yeah.
And if you can go back to the dent a little bit,
the before?
Yeah, the before. And go right there. That's perfect. Okay, stay right there. So just left of the seam line, right where it starts to roll out a little bit, right where the transition of shade takes place. Yeah. I put a 6-inch vertical tab on that right next, probably about here. 2 inches. Yeah, probably about 2 inches to the left of that seam line to the edge. I put a thick 6-inch long glue tab. And that was the first thing I did was pull that out. Actually, I put 2 6-inch long tabs on there and just pulled on that edge a little bit. And I put some with a bridge and just left some good tension on that, pulling it out. And then I started pushing on the back side of that crown, just on the deep side of that crown. And it slowly pulled out really nice. It moved really, really clean. And this is
that's a nasty dent, dude.
Yeah, it's very brutal.
So was it open behind here too, Joe? I mean, Jeff, was it like totally open?
Yeah, so this is a 69 912 Porsche, and this quarter panel is wide open. There's no bracing. It's completely wide open. No fender liner, nothing.
Let me ask you
So that
this:
was a big
when you were
advantage
glue
to it.
polling, were you yanking or just slow polling? What were you
No,
doing?
no. Do not. You cannot. So this is also a unique thing. Is this original paint?
Yeah,
Never been painted.
yeah.
And everyone was telling me, "Oh, it's going to pull the paint off." I'm like, So the bigger the tab, the more glue you have. You're probably not going to pull any paint unless you're going to rip it off really fast, which is hard to do on a big tab.
Because it's grabbing a big surface area, right? And,
Right, you're grabbing more surface area. Right.
Uh-huh.
So I used a wide, long 6-inch tabs, like I said, and I pulled right inside the middle of that taco, and started pulling that out. I used a bunch of tools. I used the Gorilla Bar. I used the 36-inch long heavy dent dial. I used that bedside tool. Used everything I could to pull that dent out, to release that crown a little bit. So I'd hold
you
some
got a
tension.
crap load of tools there.
Yeah, you can see
That looks
everything's in there,
familiar.
man. Oh my god.
It looks familiar, yeah. And a
Yeah.
coffee. What are you working 11 o'clock at night or something?
Yeah, I worked on the thing for about 2 days, but yeah. So you know the old saying, when you start showing a yard sale of PDR tools, you know something's gone wrong. Just the way it is, right? So yeah, actually I spent about 4 hours one day and 4 hours the next day. It took me about 8-9 hours total, and it literally came out pretty much perfect. It came out awesome. Came out
Wow.
super clean.
Were you doubtful at any point during the repair, Jeff?
More towards the beginning, because I was worried about pulling that out and getting the tension out of that crown and getting that. I wasn't worried about the seam line because I know that's going to move back into place. I was worried about pulling paint, even though I kind of knew it wouldn't, because you can see on that type of dent, even though it's a side swipe on a pull, it's soft. There's no major wrinkles or crowns in it, except for the big long one on top. But if you can get a crown that's soft like that, you should. If you know what you're doing, you're gonna have a good clean repair.
Yeah.
The only part I was worried about was that if you look to the right side of that shadow on the top next to the edge, there's a little pinch almost. That's the most critical part, and that came out clean. That's what I was worried about right there. Right there. That's the most critical part of that entire dent.
Yeah, because that's where the
6-inch
locked pressure is at, right? You have a lot of
Yeah.
pressure in that area. Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm pulling from that part down and pushing
Look
up
at that.
against
Look at
it
that.
behind
Look
it.
at that seam coming out. That.
Yeah, it looks like a big giant wave coming at you. Like, oh my gosh, how do I get under this thing?
Yeah. Look at that, dude. Yeah, you can stick
Yeah.
your fingers in there, dude.
That's a testament
There's
to
also
Porsche
when I
metal.
videotaped it. What's that?
It's a testament to Porsche Metal and their paint and Jeff from Huntington.
Absolutely,
Foose
dude.
City's
I
PDR.
love
man.
working on Porsches. Thanks. I love working on Porsches. Porsches, anything with German is going to be good. Oh, you know that.
Yeah.
They got
Yeah,
the round-
I love,
Oh, we
people don't
know
re-
that.
I know. Yeah, we all know that, right?
Joe and I know that for 11 hours. We've known that, dude.
yes.
It's amazing about the German
certainly
cars. If you
do.
noticed, all the German cars, they all have rounded, rolled panels. The
Yeah.
Mercedes do, the Volvos do, the Porsches
That's
do, the
that's a
Audis
good
do.
observation. Yeah.
Right. They
Even
all
the
and their
Volkswagen.
metal comes out awesome every time.
Yeah.
Their metal comes out and pushes really clean.
Yeah, it sure does, man. I love it.
That's really good, man. Well, this is a really interesting. You guys caught me off guard, man. On the $75. You got me. And I'll be Jeff. I really like your idea. I might use that idea. I just will probably raise the minimum on that for me personally. I think that's a good idea though, Jeff. It's a good way to get people to come in your shop. It's almost like you're having your own Groupon in a way. I mean, that's what it feels like. You know what I mean?
Oh,
But
I
you
tried.
control it.
I actually did Groupon once and never do it again.
No, I heard. I heard that
That was
same
a horror
thing.
story.
Dude.
Oh my gosh.
Well, all right. Tell me. Give me a story.
Oh, you just get not to knock on the world or anything, but you get a totally different variety of customers on that.
Yeah.
You know, fix my Corolla, fix my I got to turn my car in for taxes. Can you fix my dent? It's like, what? It's just, you just don't get the right car. You're not working on the right cars. You know, you're getting stuff that, the dent's more than the car. It's like, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
So-
You're being nice, dude. You're being nice, man. I hear you.
Yeah. But
I
you
hear
get, the people expect more. They want those kind of people want warranties. They want a written warranty. Like your average Joe customer for PDR that doesn't ask for that because it's just not logical. But
I know,
the Groupons are just a different world.
That's what I said.
Serving a different need altogether.
The more you lower your price and you try to get the people in, the more you attract not only the people who want the cheapest price, but they're usually the pickiest and the most wackiest.
Oh, absolutely. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. The picky, they're absolutely the pickiest too.
Yeah.
But the Groupon is a result of 08. After 08 happened, that was a result of that. So luckily we don't need to go that route anymore.
Well, that the 10-minute door ding, strategy, that's a good lesson for us right now, Mike, especially that we talk so much about doing price of dent, sticking to our guns, but it's a good way to kind of balance things out and remember that we can strategize and try things out and experiment because it's our business at the end of the day. We can choose whatever number we want it put on it.
Yeah. And we gotta say something too as well, because Jeff, you ain't cheap. Let's not give the people the persona that, you're a cheap tech and you're charging, $75 for a quick ding.
I shout that out too.
Yeah. You use Mobile Tech RX, right? And in general, and I've seen you, and you charged for that door. How much was that door that you did?
The Porsche?
No, well, let's say the Porsche. Okay, let's go for how much was the Porsche?
Okay, well, that was I actually undercharged him, and I charged him about $3,200.
Okay,
that was not enough.
That ain't chump change, No,
that was
2 days.
That was not enough because I didn't take in consideration. I was kind of I almost got kind of excited on that dent, but I was like, oh, I can't. I want to do this, I was like, oh, I got to prove to myself I can do this, But I got the job as insurance, and the guy didn't tell me till afterwards, which I now learned from that experience too. Is I didn't ask him beforehand if he was going to use insurance to pay for it. He's like, no, I'm going to pay for it out of pocket. But the guy was kind of getting me at the same time. He's like, yeah, I'm going to pay for this out of pocket. I was like, okay, this is your price. It's going to come out great. And so he ended up he got insurance money on that one.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, Jeff, I've learned that lesson too as well on big smashes. I asked them, are you paying out of pocket or going through insurance? Because it's not just because I'll lower a price for them to pay out of pocket, because I learned that the effort's the same regardless if they pay out of pocket or they pay through insurance. I just want to know what I'm dealing with, like how I'm going to deal with the situation, because I might give them a couple $100 off of the cost, but I'm not going to suffer anymore. Forget that.
Right.
So,
Mike, what is your cue to ask that question? Is it with anything that is going to be above their deductible? Oh yeah,
anything I know it's going to in Mobile Tech RX or basically based on experience, $500 or more. If it's $500 or like in the $400 to $500 range, because it could, you guys both know, it could easily go, you assume it's going to be $400 and then you look at it and it ends up turning into a $750 repair easily, And
Absolutely.
So if it's around between $400 to $500 mark, I'm going to ask them.
Absolutely. Yep. Every time.
And a lot of people don't know that they can make a claim. They think that, a lot of times it doesn't affect their insurance. It's comprehensive. You can get it through comprehensive. So not always that's the case, but generally you can, and they'll be more than happy to go that route.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's good stuff, guys.
Anything else you wanted to add, Joe?
I mean, it kind of goes in with what you did there on that Porsche, Jeff. I mean, that's pure craftsmanship, dude. And I like that your logo says epic craftsmanship.
Absolutely. Yeah. My wife. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say on that logo real quick. My wife came up with that logo, and if you're a surfer of any type, if you hang out at the beach, you'll know that's a Big Wednesday logo. That's from back in the. Okay, so that's back. That's the
let's go.
Surf movie back in the '60s. That's their logo. I basically just took out the surfboard. He's carrying the guy, that's the Big Wednesday logo. The guy's carrying a surfboard in his hands. We just took that out and put a dent tool in his hand.
Sweet, man.
Nobody catches it. They just think he's carrying a board or something. That's actually a dent tool.
Yeah. That's
Sweet.
actually, I noticed it years back, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely caught the eye way back when we first saw it, Jeff.
That's from the Endless Summer video, or Endless Summer movie back in the 60s.
You know, that would be a cool sleeve, dude. Like, it's just have the logo itself with that right there and put it on the side of one of your sleeves on your shirt.
Yeah, I've actually, it's been
patch.
thought about many times, or even do it like a patch, or like a big embroidered logo on the shoulder of your shirt.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah. There it is right there. It is hard to tell from this but it does look like a little surfboard from here. But
so here's the original logo from the Endless Summer.
Hold on, let me go over there. Oh yeah,
there's the guy right here.
Yeah.
I can't see it.
Right.
Right there, yeah. He's carrying a surfboard. We just took it out and put a dent tool.
With a gorilla bar.
That's badass.
That's what it should have been.
That's badass, dude.
That's cool, man. I like to hear that, dude.
Yeah, cool. Everything.
Epic
And
craftsmanship.
and actually, the original logo didn't have the flames in the background. It had a round circle, like the one I just showed you had a round circle. Mike saw it at the shop. Had a round circle with a yellow background, and then a white strip down the middle. And if you looked at it, you think it's a sunset, but it's actually an image board.
Yep.
Real.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a cool shop, man. You got a cool shop. You got a lot of history inside there, Jeff. It was a little cold that day. I don't know how you do it, man. When it's cold, man.
It's still chilly. I'd say it was only 63, and it's like, man, 50 at night, 63 during the day.
But man, when it's summertime, I bet you it's freaking nice, man. And just
it's so good. The wind, the breeze comes through there. It's perfect.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Everybody watching right now who's in the Midwest and the back east.
We're all Cali guys, aren't we?
Oh my gosh.
So
Taylor, our new guy, he just went home today, and last week he talked to his dad in Minnesota, and it was 50 below with no wind chill.
Oh my god.
No, gosh, forget that, man.
That.
No.
I don't know how you work in that.
Hell no.
How you do it.
No.
Solid.
Well, I
think 110-degree difference.
We're about wrapped up, guys. Oh, I forgot to mention though, dude. So before we go,
hey, stop sucking eggs. It's time for PDR tech tips.
All right, that little soundbite is from the old PDR tool time, and so once in a while we would do a tech tip, and then that was our cue to do a tech tip. So that's actually my wife.
Okay, cool.
So Jeff, I give you a little time. Do you have any tech tips? You're a great tech man. I'm putting you on the spot. Let's go, dude. What do you got, man?
I've always said it from day one. So my biggest tech tip would be from day one. Every time I notice I do a dent that's been repaired previously, the biggest reason they cannot get the dent out is because they don't take the crowns out. So if you notice a dent if you get a previous PDR dent and you notice a bunch of poke marks all through the dent and it's still a little bit low when you sit back and look at it, you pull the light back and you got crowns around the entire dent. Take your crowns out.
Yeah.
Take your about 99% of your dents will have a crown. I don't care how big or small it is, it's going to have a crown. Get it out.
What are your tools that you use to take out the crowns? Like, give me some of your most go-to tools for crowns.
So I've got I don't have pictures of them here, but I got about 5-6 different blending hammers that I can use, or tips. I use black tips, red tips. I use the Delrin black tips, from Dentcraft, and I've got the, what do you call those brown ones from Ultra? Has those ones. They look like wood. I can't remember the name of those things. Those things work really good and clean. And I've got those edge knockers that I showed you that I have. Those I use those today on the rail. On a rail.
Hold on a second. I think I got that real quick here. Edge knockers, you're talking, let's see here. We are going, keep going, dude. So you're talking about, there's.
That right there. Yep. That's a great tool right there for hitting edges and corners and getting those little sharp if down lower on that panel, there's a body line, and I can't touch it with a regular knockdown tip.
Yeah.
So I can use that edge tip and get just like that and hit right on that corner and get the crown out. That works wonders right there.
If you guys are listening, that we actually have a video showing that, so you can go to iTunes or you can go to Podbean and you can see this episode that we're talking about. Jeff is showing it, or you can go to YouTube and watch the whole video that he did on Dent Time. Did you have a copy of this? Did I send this to you so you can put this on your channel? I don't think I did, right, Jeff?
No, I got it on. I can't get it off my. You texted it to me. You got to email it to me.
Okay. Yeah. I'll email that to you so you can put that up. Yeah. And this is designed. This is one I really like. I don't have this one right here. This big round piece right here. Ultra
you got to be careful.
this.
So that's good for more sharper crowns. So even though it's a big, broad, wide tip, it's better for a sharper crown. So if you have a wide crown, you're going to want to use a sharper tip almost. It's kind of opposite. They're kind of opposite of themselves. So that big round tip is really good for a little bit narrower crown.
Yeah.
Because as you hit it, it's going to flatten out and absorb more surface area.
Yeah. And that tool right there is the 45 degree angle tool, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow, man.
Yep.
I mean,
Brutal.
It's a 5/8. Yeah, those are all from the Ultra.
Look at that. My camera, I don't want to go like play because it'll be flickering like crazy. I had a hard time with my, look at that.
Yeah, there you go. So I use that edge tool on the bottom corner of that body line.
Right here?
To the molding, yep.
Yeah.
Came out awesome.
I think I watched you do this and you took your time. You were very methodical about tapping down some of this right here, right? And then you'd glue pull the right, manhandle the freaking left side of it right here with that tool that you have right here. Yep. I didn't really get to see, what did you use to like finalize this bottom part right here? Because I know that had some locked pressure right there.
Yeah, so I actually used, I started with the red cap, the big red cap from Ultra, and then I changed over to a black tip because they're a little bit strong, they're a little bit harder. And then I switched over to a ball tip, a metal ball tip, and then I switched to
like an R4 metal ball tip.
Yeah, and then I switched over to a finesse aluminum killer, the sharp one.
Yeah, like the Zircus ones, the slow curved pick ones. Like that?
Yeah. The one for roofs and stuff. Yeah, super sharp.
Yeah.
Finished off with that. Yep.
Yeah, and obviously that was a hell of a repair here. This is where you had it when I left. Right here.
So that spot, almost dead smack wall right in the middle. All that whole section up and down, I glue pulled that with the orange. Green.
Black plague tab.
Black plague tab. Those things work. The flat ones.
Yeah.
Those things, they're about 1.5 inches, and those things pull hard.
Yeah,
really hard.
Crease tab. That's a go-to for a lot of people, man.
And then the crown. What did you knock down the crown with at the end?
So that crown, I didn't have to do a whole lot of knocking down on that. I just used a regular knockdown on that, a black Delrin style. With a little bit, it wasn't sharp, but once I glue pulled all that up, I didn't have to knock it down too far.
It just wanted to flow back in.
What I'm doing is that sharp crown is level to where it needs to be. Everything else around it had to come up to it.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's why I was glue pulling it so much.
I think most people would get too aggressive on that, and they would try to knock down more of that, right, and cause a bunch of lows.
A lot of guys over the years will ask me, like, how come I'm dimpling my crowns when I knock them down? It's because that crown's overloaded and it doesn't want to move, so you're pushing through it. Yeah. So if I go and start knocking that crown down, it's going to dimple all over the place. So I got to pull everything else up around it to bring the strength off of it, and then I can push it down.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see that you're starting to move it more. That crown is coming up.
Right.
I think that's where I started leaving you right there.
Right,
and
right about there, yeah.
Yeah. And then here, obviously, we'll play that here. Nice.
Yeah, it came out totally clean. I was stoked with it. The customer was really happy.
Super good. And there's some of the tools that you were talking about right there.
Right. Yeah. And that tip I have in that long Ultra is just a regular black tip.
Yeah, these two tips are your aluminum killers or Mark Zerkis set. The tip right here that you said from Ultra and this right here. Wow, did you get between the brace? Is that what you did? Or?
Yeah, so I was using that. That's a Dent Craft 36-inch 45, and it's got that little blade tip on it. Which, man, I was talking to another tech today who came in from out of town to visit. And those tips right there, nobody makes them like that anymore, except for Dent Craft. And those tips will kill.
Are they real thin? Are they thin?
Yeah, they're probably 3/8 of an inch, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty thin, but they'll get in between a brace.
Looks like a guy's got a lot of drive.
Got room for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they push really, really good.
Hey Jeff, when you're working on big smashes like that, I mean, obviously you do them quite a bit. Do you ever run into like sticking points or to the point where you're like 4 hours in and you don't know if you can fix it? It's
usually that one there. Well, yeah, you didn't see the next day. I glue pulled that thing for, like I said, about 3 or 4 hours in the middle of that thing. Wow. It's working around that glue in those cars. It's the hardest part. Pulling around those braces on both sides where you got glue attached to it. You're just like, oh my gosh. But the way glue points changed in the last 5 or 6 years with the mini. I love the mini lifters. I got the old school mini lifter, and those things just pull so hard. Those things help out a lot.
You're talking the old school mini lifter, like the metal aluminum one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, those things just pull strong.
Yeah. I like that too. I still have it. I think Kiko make that. I believe that's Kiko's old first version one. So
right.
But
I think
anyways,
that's an important thing going back to the duration of repairs, especially big smashes and the even the doubt that comes into your mind while you're doing it. I think that's an important, because you're starting to take those on, and I believe that I'm not the only one struggling with those, and I think it's realistic it's realistic that you're going to have those moments where you're stuck, and then you almost have to take a reset. Step back,
absolutely,
refresh your mind, and then you come
right,
back.
Exactly. So, kind of driving on that a little bit. A lot of times, because I have the shop, that's a huge advantage. So, especially with that Porsche, the orange Porsche, I kept that overnight, and if I didn't work on that the next day, I only worked on it 4 hours one day and 4 hours the next day. But I got to take a break on it. If you don't go clean your head and clear it and come back on. You're going to destroy that thing. If you just keep working on it, I got to finish it tonight, and you sit there and work late on it, you're going to destroy that thing, or it's not going to come out. It's going to be 80% rather than 95 or 100%. Clear your head on these things sometimes, because you'll wake up the next morning like, oh, maybe if I try this, it'll work better. And I go and do that, and it comes out clean. It's like, wow, how come I didn't think about that last night? You just got to sleep on it sometimes. You just got to take your time on these things. You can't just rush through them.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think what we got to start wrapping it up, guys. So
sure.
I want to say that Jeff and Joe and you guys all friggin' got some good questions here. Anything else that you guys want to wrap up or say anything out there to everybody? Anybody?
I just want to congratulate Jeff on representing our trade really well, man. I mean, you're a role model, and from way back.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much.
We've been watching, and I think that's the direction that PDR is going, thanks to your efforts. So.
Yeah, I think I'm spending too much time with you, Jeff, dude. Shoot, man. I think
I got a ton of stories, man. They haven't even started.
Jeff and I have been we've known each other for a while, but lately we've just been really connecting. But like I said, I agree with Joe. I don't think you get enough recognition, honestly, Jeff. You've been in the game for a long time. You do excellent work. You bring out different ideas, and that's why we had you on the podcast. And thanks again for taking your time, dude, and sharing some of your knowledge.
Yeah, anytime you want to come up to the shop, go for it. I love it when people come by and say, "Hey," people do it a lot actually. So yeah.
Well, we got to organize another PDR meetup over there. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. So,
So
all right, guys, I'm going to let you guys go, and we'll see you guys. Well, Jeff, I'll see you sometime soon. Joe, we'll see you sometime on the podcast again too soon.
See you when I see you.
Okay. Yeah, I'll
guys take
see you
care.
when I
Thanks,
see you,
Joe.
Joe. See you guys.
Thank you, Jeff.
awesome.
Take care.
See you guys.
All right. Take
Yeah.
care.
Have a great evening.
All right, guys. I hope you guys liked the interview and the whole video podcast format. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are. What would you guys like to hear? What would you guys like to see? Who would you like me to interview? Let me know your thoughts again. I really appreciate it. Hey, and if you really, really want to do me a big favor and show your appreciation, write that review. Go let me know what you think. Don't forget to subscribe no matter what platform you're on. And we will see and hear, you'll hear us on the next video podcast. Talk to you guys later. See ya.